Okay guys, part 2 is going to be actually a little bit easier. So we are still dealing with density, so we still need the mass and the volume. So the equipment I'm going to need are my balance again. And then to find the volume, I'm going to use a little bit of math, okay, a little bit of geometry. Because these are cubes, I'm going to be able to just measure the length, width, and height, and then do a little calculation, and boom, done. So this one's actually going to not take very long. So let's start out first with the copper. The copper is this slightly reddish kind. So let's put that on there, and if you had to guess, what do you think? How heavy is this going to be? Sort of small. Okay, so that one was actually pretty heavy. You couldn't really tell, but whenever I picked it up, it had a little bit of weight to it. So this one's 141.18, and I'll have this data in the chart below. Next we got our brass. Our brass is sort of goldish. Brass is an alloy. It's a mixture of different metals. This one is going to be 135.91 grams. And then lastly, we have this little wooden block. This is the wooden one. It's pretty light too. This is pine. So different woods are going to have different masses as well. But our pine in this case, oh, he's just a little guy. 8.58. I'm going to say 8 grams. Okay? Now, next up we said is my volume. Now we are using not inches, we are using the metric system here, so let's use my centimeters. You'll notice my ruler has millimeters. I'm just going to be using my centimeters here. So let's go back to my brass, okay, and sorry if there's a glare, okay, but this is going to be, come on. You'll see it's about 25 exactly. It's like these things were made to be 25 exactly. Now this is 25 millimeters, okay. If I were to use centimeters, it would be 2.5. So I'm going to record that in centimeters. 2.5. If I toss it up for my width or height, whichever one you want to call this, okay, that's going to be, oh, look at that, 2.5. And then if I look at my last side here, that is also going to be 2.5. So my length, width, and height for my brass is, sorry, this is copper. Copper is going to be 2.5. Now, if you had to guess, okay, these are really probably going to be all the same. I'll just do a quick check here. Yep, 25, or 2.5, excuse me. 2.5 and 2.5. And then our pine. Now the pine could get beaten up. This one actually looks pretty new. It's a nice fresh piece. Nobody's picked at it or broken it at all. 2.5, 2.5, and yes indeed, 2.5. So now we have our length, width, and height measurements. Now we can do a little calculation and solve to find our density. So go ahead and you're going to use those numbers, you're going to calculate the density, and then you're going to answer the questions. Hopefully you've already answered the questions for part 1 as well. There's a few calculations, and then there are a few post-lab questions where you're going to analyze all the data from both parts. So make sure you're being careful to address the entire question. For the last section with the post-labs, make sure you're being very descriptive. Okay, the more you write, the more I understand what you are telling me. Okay, now I don't want to see a paragraph, but I do want you to be fairly thorough. Okay, so if you're having trouble with this, make sure you shoot me an email, and I'm happy to help. Good luck.